I went through all of that, and that's when I gave my heart back to the Lord. I was homeless, walking, looking on the corner for a cigarette butt to smoke, and the Lord said, "You rather live like this than to try, brother." And I gotta say, and I'm gonna say it on your while we live on your show. The only reason I'm sitting here with you today, and I can see you as a brother, and I want to let everybody that know. And I love giving people their flowers. This is one of the parts of me, man. I'm just transparent in every way, and I believe in giving brothers their flowers, man. You was one of the people who didn't wash their hands of me, because I said, when I fell in depression, because I not knowing what's wrong with my sickness, and that old Joshua started coming back out and this is while I'm preaching in 5 different states. I have all these YouTube videos and millions of views, and a lot of people in the church washed their hands of me, but you didn't.
Welcome back to the Bible Hygiene. This is Jenseny Augustave here, and today we have a very, very powerful program coming your way. I'm actually joined in with a very special guest who's going to share his life experience as it relates to depression, and even how God has helped him to overcome through those experiences. And so I'm joined by none other than Joshua Wiley. Now, Joshua, welcome to the program.
Glad you got me. Glad you got me here.
Definitely, and thank you for joining us in. And so, Joshua is a man of God. He believes in the Word, and also he has many trades, talents, and one of his talents that he has been showing is his musical talent. And so throughout this program, I'm going to share with you a clip of some of his music. And also, Joshua is a family man. He's married with children. And so he is a seasoned veteran and has much life experience. And so he's going to just share with us his life and how God has allowed him to go through depression and is overcoming daily. Now, Joshua, to begin the program here, just tell us 5 fun facts about your upbringing and even your life as well.
Okay, 5 fun facts. All right, one fun fact is there's certain facts I wouldn't say they fun, but one fun fact is one time when I was incarcerated, I learned how to play chess by this old guy named Jose. And in 3 months, the whole jail system had a tournament, and I won. Wow. I took the chess because I love it. Was about war, and growing up a child in the church, you're reading about all the wars in the Bible. So I've always been a war fanatic, and anybody who's familiar with my channel knows I like doing history is my favorite subject. So once I learned the game of chess and saw that it was war and strategic and strategies, I took to it. And one of my little nicknames during that one little stint of incarceration, after I won the tournament, everybody kept calling me Bobby Fischer. And I hadn't seen the movie, so when I got out, I had to go watch the movie by searching for Bobby Fischer, because everybody kept calling me Bobby Fischer. But I say another fun fact is, let me see, chess. I've been boxing since I was little. I love boxing.
Okay.
I just put up a personal testimony on my YouTube channel, and in that I tell actually how I learned to box. I wasn't taught to box by no person, but once I reached a certain age and my uncles and other people could see that I could fight and I could box, they was always, Josh loved boxing. Like boxing is I'm a fanatic. I love boxing. So chess, boxing. Another fun fact, I ran a 4.3.5. It was probably like a 4.39 when it was the old school with the clock, the clicker, and I rang in at a 4.3 flat. But when the old school clicker, when you're running and they timing you in football, they it's kind of off like a second depending on how bad the person. And I was a triathlete. I played football, basketball, and really I played football, basketball, track and field, and soccer. I played soccer at one
Wow,
point for a little
man,
bit.
that
Just I was ADD,
that
man, you know, just but mainly as far as in the school system and in the street system. And people, they used to always, coaches would always ask my mom, could I play on the Sabbath, things of that nature. And I did one time, and it was the worst. And it was basketball. It was I was picked for the city all star team, and the game happened. One of our games happened to be on Saturday, and I begged my mom, please, please. It was the worst game I ever had. Like for real, bro. I got hit
oh
in the head with the
man.
basketball. You know, I'm one of the best. You know, I ain't gonna say I was one of the best on the court, but I was a good player, but I wasn't one of the best then. But yeah, man, it was one of the horrible. God taught me a lesson about playing on the Sabbath, man. And like I say, and I still I ranked so high at City Ball, I still got like 4 scholarship offers once I moved to Tennessee to try to play football. Try to play football. Let me see what I say: chess, boxing, uh,
You said
my
you ran a
speed,
4.3.
right? My speed. What's a
Uh-huh.
fun fact? Another fun fact about old Wiley. I would say I'm a workout fanatic. I
Okay.
guess everything is with physical, like because I
Right.
guess it all ties from my upbringing with boxing. Like real talk, right now, if y'all can see I'm slim, like I've been laying concrete since last night. But I'm a workout fanatic, and I try to do certain laps. I'm always thinking about exercising, even doing stuff outside to exercise, things of that nature. I'm 44 years old, and I always tell people like, "Yo," they be like, "Yo, you don't look it." I'm like, it's because of how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? Because of
Yeah.
what I ate and just always staying active. Like I said before this, like I thought, you know, I got the time wrong, and so I've been up laying concrete just out of the love for it,
Right,
just to
right.
do it. I dug the
Man.
fire pit in the backyard physically, and I'm laying concrete on it just to stay busy and do something. So I'm a workout fanatic, boxing, chess, 4-3 speed, and one thing. Okay, just another little fun fact. When I was a freshman in
Okay.
high school, I outscored almost the whole high school except for a handful of seniors, and they call it. I scored so high it was the state aptitude test, and
Okay.
I didn't know what it was. All I know is they was taking me to the office, and I was always a problem child. So I thought I was in trouble. When the teacher was like, "Josh, you need to come to the office," and so they took me into the office and they told me how high I scored, and they actually told me that they wanted to take me to another school, and it was like a magnet school for they called them magnet students, like gifted students, and I asked them first question I asked them I said, do I gotta take more tests because I hated school and I just was always smart, you know. But and they were like, yeah, you gotta take more tests. So I told them, nah, I'm not gonna do it. And it was like, well, we're gonna tell you, Ma. I said, no matter what, I'm not gonna do it. And so I didn't tell my mom for years, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew she would try to make me do it anyway. But it was they wanted me to be a magnet student. And even when I dropped out, like I stopped doing homework for a long time, but and I would only take tests because I had to. And I dropped out my senior year. I was in the top 20% of my class, and that was just from taking tests. I was scored so high on the test, I really didn't have to do take. I was still in the top 20% of my class, even though I really didn't do homework for at school in school at all. You know,
Yeah, I guess you wasn't really the homework type.
not like real talk. My sister, who's a year younger than me, we had the same teacher for the one of the same classes. Well, the same teacher. My sister was her teacher's aide. Matter of fact, we didn't have the same class, but my sister was a teacher's aide. And my sister came into class one time when I'm in class, and my sister saw me sleep on the desk, and she had asked the teacher, she's like, "Why you let my brother sleep all the time? Every time I come in here, my brother be sleeping." And the teacher, she told her, she said, "Your brother makes an A in my class. I don't know how he does it, so I leave him alone." So she was a nice
Wow.
teacher. I forget her name, but yeah, that's just a little fun fact because people usually see me in my demeanor and they automatically think I'm foolish or
Right.
not foolish, but kind of slow or not as smart. And I've used that to my I don't know what type of what word I'm looking for, but I've used that to my advantage. I've used that to
I
my
see.
advantage a lot of times, playing on people, playing on my appearance, and automatically assuming that I'm a certain way. When
Yeah.
really I run my own business that I started, was that the Holy Spirit showed me how to start on my own and things of that nature. So to my mom, them, it doesn't surprise me that I run my own business and things of that nature, because my mom knows how smart I am. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, what kind of business do you run, and also, like, what are some of the current projects, that you're working on right now, before we really dive into the topic? And so I just to get to know you a little bit more.
no doubt. Wanna now restate the question. My fault. Brain lag.
Yeah, no, it's okay. The question is, what type of business do you run,
Oh,
and also, what are some of the, I guess, current projects you're working
right,
on? I know you're a YouTuber and
right.
so on
Well,
and so forth.
I sell electronics. My fault, brother. I,
Okay.
I sell electronics, like little bitty earpieces like these and Bluetooth speakers. Do I have one? Yeah. Matter of fact, I got a set right here. I kept these. These came in my packages,
Yeah.
but like little Bluetooth speakers, earpieces, battery chargers for your phone, portable battery chargers. I'm looking for something else. Like little universal pods with the charging cases.
Right.
Everything I sell is non-gender and non-culture. Like I tell other people, when you get into business, don't try to I saw a lot of brothers make the mistake of only aiming at a certain culture,
I
or
got you.
like I had a partner, he called his store Urban Goods, and he only catered to blacks. And I told him, I said, bro, when everybody in the neighborhood buys enough pictures and sneakers, what else are you gonna sell? So every item that I sell caters to everybody, no matter the gender, culture, and of course that's just from my upbringing and how the Lord blessed me, how the Holy Spirit blessed me, and just think,
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. And so, as we, yeah, and thank you for sharing those fun facts with us, and even,
No doubt,
your
man.
life
No doubt.
experience. And
No doubt.
so, as we dive into it, of course, we have been friends on Facebook for a while, but
Right,
I didn't
right.
know that you were artistic in the sense of music. And so there is one of your recent tracks that you had shared maybe in the month of September. And so, I guess it's fitting for the time, especially around this month as well. And so I'm going to share this track, and then that's going to jump us forward into the topic that we're dealing with, which is depression.
Being me if I didn't do a song about growing up poor. And I had to ask my brothers Kumba and Bam Bam to get on the track with me. My voice a little gone. I wasn't going to give a sneak preview because the song is hard to do. But I'm going to give y'all a little taste anyway, just for the fun of it. Here we go. It's called Why Didn't Santa Pick Me? Why Didn't Santa Pick Me? Come on now. Okay. Pick me, why didn't Santa Claus pick me? Why didn't Santa Claus pick me? Why didn't Santa Claus? Am I really that bad as they said I is? Nah, that's it. I'm gonna wait for y'all to wait for the album.
All right. So, the song is entitled "Why Didn't Santa Claus Pick Me?" And so I guess the whole theme around it is, you're so bad of a child, you're such a troubled person as a teen, as a child, that Santa Claus didn't pick you. And of course, I mean, on this channel, everybody knows we don't celebrate Christmas. We don't
Yeah,
believe Christmas to be biblical. It is definitely a pagan, and it's not
right.
a biblical principle, or biblical feast. However, the message that you're portraying in this track, and as you said, you don't just make music, or you don't just have a particular brand to just the church. And so there are a lot of other people that you may know of that do celebrate Christmas, and so you kind of make music in a way to
Yeah.
kind of target that audience. And
Let me
so mhm.
No, go ahead, brother.
Yeah,
Thousand.
and so of course the message is really the main point that triggered my attention, which is, a bad child. And so,
Let
what
me
was it about your childhood that
well,
was like so horrible that you're
well,
like, man,
well,
listen,
hold on. Let me
um,
let me give
nobody's
you the
gonna
truth.
pick me.
Let me give you the real message behind it. There's
Okay.
always, like I say, chess. I played state champions. Like I
Uh-huh.
said, I'm a chess player in everything I do. Like everything
Yeah.
I do. And I ain't gonna say like I played chess state champions in tournaments. Nah, it was like a couple people in North Carolina who were state champions ranked. And and people were, our friends would be at a party, they'd be like, man, Josh knows how to play. And the one state champion I played came down to one move with me and him, one move on the 13th move, if you understand chess, to where he got me on the 13th move to where it was a stalemate, but really he won. And so I play chess in everything I do. And honestly, the meaning of the song, I'm glad you picked that and brought it up so I can clarify. It's
Yeah.
actually because I was showing the difference between Santa and God.
Oh,
See,
okay.
because I really wasn't a bad kid. But when you listen to the story of Santa, because I grew up dirt poor, like you listen to my story, born and raised in a dope house, things of
Mm-hmm.
that nature. My mom had me young, house full of people, aunts and uncles on dope. My dad was on crack. Uh, that when you listen to the Santa Claus story, the song, even as a little boy, always made me feel worthless. Because it says, it's Santa. If you're good or bad, what it say? How the little melody go? I can't even think of the melody of
Yeah.
the little Santa Claus jingle where it says, if you're good, Santa's gonna give you gifts, but if you're bad, you're not gonna get anything. Well, the reason I wanted to show in the song, and that's why I say, why didn't Santa Claus pick me? Because here I'm good. I was like, I'm good, but I still didn't get anything because I'm poor.
Mm.
So I wanted to show like the error in that Santa Claus jingle, how it's good for the families who got, the people who got something, the middle class, but for the little kids who grew up in the slums and all of that, it automatically makes us feel worthless because we can be good all day. Like I told you, my sister Jennifer, who grew up with, we did she didn't she, her and my brother didn't start living with me until we all started living with my mom until I was like 10 and 11. But just to show like there was a million of my sisters in the projects who were never did nothing wrong. I think my sister
Yeah.
might have got popped one time, but when you listen to that Santa Claus, it's only because I've been up laying concrete since the sunrise. I'm trying to think of the jingle where it says Santa, if you're good or bad, he's checking, making a list. He's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus. So it made us poor kids all automatically feel like we're automatically naughty. And I seen that it's strategic, knowing we dealing with a wily foe, talking about this devil.
Yeah.
When you look at the devil and how, like you say, it was a pagan ceremony. When you listen to that song, it doesn't take into account to us little poor kids. And that's why I asked the question. Well, if we believe the jingle, right? That if you're good, he's gonna give you gifts. But if you're bad, you're not gonna get nothing. That's why I was like, well, why didn't Santa Claus pick me? I was good. Why didn't he
Mm.
pick my sister? Why didn't he pick the partner who stay in the projects next to me? He was good too. When we still didn't get nothing. So it subliminally makes you feel bad. And that's what I get into in the verses. Like the hook is one thing, and as I'm glad you played, because that's just a little sneak preview of the hook. And of
Right.
course you didn't hear the verse, but in the verses, that's what I get into is the fact of here, I was good all year, but I didn't get anything. Like
Mm.
Santa, why you didn't pick me? And I wanted to, like I say, show the contrast between him and God. How
I
God,
got you.
God is totally opposite of Santa. Totally opposite of Santa.
That definitely. And so one of the things that you mentioned is that even with all that, as a child, oftentimes you may feel worthless, and so and not good enough, or
Right.
so even with all this experience, and of course I've heard your story before, and so with growing up in a home with just drugs, your uncles, being drug addicts, your family just having drugs around you, and so
Right.
that also, played a part in your decision making, and so you ended up, of course, dealing with drugs and being in and out of jail. You mentioned in your story how you actually went to jail about 27 times, and
Yeah,
so
27 now, you know.
wow. And
Yeah.
so like like mental health and depression, has there ever been a time in your life where you can say, wow, like, man, I was depressed, and would you attribute those experiences to just um depression or mental health, or not,
Oh, most
having
definitely.
the
No, most definitely. And first, I want to say, like, yeah, a lot of my aunts and uncles grew up doing, on crack, things of that nature, but a lot of them are total opposite now. They
wow,
like many of us went through a spell, and that was when the crack era hit. I was born in '77, so I grew up in the '80s when that crack era hit. So, but now I just had to throw that in there. Many of them, nobody could tell. Like, if they, unless they told they passed, unless they told them, people wouldn't be able to tell. But oh yeah, man, of course, man. And I'm gonna take you even deeper. It's what made me study mental health and
mm,
actually do videos about it on my own channel. Was I look at myself, I couldn't help. The world has always been so harsh on me, like, which is a blessing. I'm not saying that in no complaining tone, that it caused me to always look at myself with honest eyes. You know what I'm saying? And I've been a manic depressive since I was little. Not really just depressed, bro. I can be a manic depressive. If my chemical imbalance, if I don't eat, like I tell you, if I don't get the proper sleep, eat my fruits and veggies, I'm a manic depressive, bro. And I'm one of the worst kind. Like, people meet me now, and like you say, you've known me for years on Facebook, and the Lord even revealed to me recently what was wrong with my body. For the longest, I didn't know what was wrong with me, and it took me into a depression. And that old Joshua, that old man, started to come out, and people who met me just from YouTube or just from preaching and teaching, who didn't know the Joshua in the street, who had been locked up. Let's see, I've been locked up in the past 4 or 5 years about 3 times. So who didn't know I've been locked up 24 times, or you could tell somebody something like, hey man, I'm this way and I'm that way, and they still, if they think because I teach real good or I preach real good, they see the youthful appearance and the smile, they couldn't imagine this little boy being called Satan in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, like I say, when my anger is gone, like when I'm a manic, when my chemical imbalance is off, um, let's just say I get in trouble. And I'm gonna say it like this, even to the point where just recently, me and my mother, I went through, and I could pinpoint in my life the times when I did get incarcerated. Most of the times was when my chemical imbalance was off, and a lot of brothers wrestle with mental health in the hood, and don't realize it. It's normalized now. It's actually normalized being talked about in the white community. You know, and I think that's a good thing. Like, they have no problem saying little Johnny need to go talk to a therapist, but in the black neighborhood we shun it, and we just sweep it under the rug, and a lot of brothers and sisters are suffering because of it. So that's why I'm
wow,
not, like I say, I've always been called. I remember, as you saw in my, I remember being called a demon child. I remember the first time I was called a demon child. So I don't care if people run their mouth or, oh, Josh Dell, he's a manic depressant. In the back of my head, I'm always like, and that comes from fighting, because it's like, once you reach a certain level and you're secure in your manhood, it's like, okay,
yes,
so what? I was a manic depressant. In the back of my mind, that little Josh is like, well, you can't beat me, or what I'm saying? It's like, it
yeah,
doesn't make me less of a man. The old Josh, that's why I said the little boy in the back of my head was like, oh, you can't be. But nah, that's what helped me, and being secure in my manhood actually makes me want to share more, because I'm like, okay, I run a business, I have a home, I own my vehicles. I don't make like a big money, like I'm rich. I'm not rich at all, but I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
amen,
I'm blessed. And
definitely,
and I wanted to throw in real quick, being that the,
yes,
the tornado just barely missed my house a half.
wow,
It was
yeah,
it was a
yeah,
half a
that's one
mile.
thing I miss. I should have asked
Yeah.
you.
And I'm in Kentucky. For those who don't know, I live in Kentucky now. And the one big twister, if you get on Jason A. He's another Christian YouTuber who does like last day videos of natural events. He actually just posted on his thumbnail is Land Between the Lakes. I'm 40 minutes away from Land Between the Lakes, and it shows this humongous tornado, and that tornado ripped like not even a half a mile to the left of my house. So I had to throw that in there because I'm blessed, and I sat outside and watched it all because the Lord know I'm here to call on a mission. So I knew nothing gonna happen to me, and but I was praying for everybody. As you could see the lightning flashes, you could feel each thunder roll. It was a very humbling experience, and so I had to throw that in on how I'm blessed to still have my home and everything, because a lot of people right here in Kentucky aren't. A lot of people aren't, brother.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that tornado, I mean, ripped things apart, and even the factory in Kentucky where people were
Major.
saying that the managers weren't allowing them to go home, and they were threatened to be fired if they were to go home and escape the tornado. And so, that was like very tragic, and which shows, the mindset, of a lot
Yeah,
of people where,
yeah,
they would rather stay within harm's way only to get, a few dollars. And so, you
right,
know,
right.
mhm,
Or listen to, or I don't even mean to cut you off, or listen to a supervisor and let somebody run their life, like you say,
mm,
just for a couple of, it just reminded me real quick because I'm in Tennessee. This part of Tennessee and Kentucky is like Tornado Alley, and there was
okay.
another. I was working at a factory called A.O. Smith in Ashland City years ago, and I remember one of the GM, the heads of the factory, was hounding me because of the Sabbath. Because all he saw was the wave cap, like I say, and that's why he saw the wave cap, he saw the dress. He's like, this little young dude ain't no Christian. He ain't no 70 Adventist. All the other Adventists I know dress different, talk different. He ain't no
Yeah.
Adventist. So he was hounding me, right? And I stood firm, I always stood firm, like, nah, I'm not working on Sunset Friday, Sunset Saturday, because then I was a good worker. So they would hound me and throw me extra money and all that. But anyway, a tornado was gonna hit, and like I say, I've always been stubborn and did what I wanted to do. And I'm like, even in the fact they tell you to go into these little bathrooms and crowd in or go into the cafeteria. And I was outside just like I was the other day, just in case I know when I need to run, hop in my car, or whatever. So I'm outside and he sees me and he's fearful. And I'm not, because, when you got faith in the Lord, what I'm saying? And you could actually see this twister a little
Mm.
ways up. You could see it as it's forming and dropping, right? And he stood there with me because he saw it was calm. He stood there with me because he saw that I was calm, and we were talking, and you could actually see the twister go back up, and it literally jumps over the factory and lands in a different part of town, and in the town. And
Wow.
after that, he never hounded me about the Sabbath ever again. Like, for real, he was coming to me to actually be like, "You're supposed to be in the bathroom." And I looked at him and I said, "Nah, man. If my life's in danger, I'm standing right here." And he actually stood with me, and I could tell he was fearful. And we talked. I talked to him the whole time, and he never hounded me about the Sabbath ever again.
Wow, that
Yeah,
is a miracle, man.
yeah, man.
Those
Yeah,
are
man.
some powerful experiences. And so, going back to, of course, your childhood. Did you grow up with both parents, both mom and dad? Within a marriage relationship? How is your upbringing like?
Well, I say it like this, and I'm gonna say this. I've learned to say this in the best of way because my mother's my best friend,
Yeah.
like one of my best friends to this day. Of course, God is my best friend, but as far as earth goes, but my mom had me at 16, and I watched my mom, and we lived in these one projects called Walk Street with my great grandmother, and I watched my mom walk to school and walk to work, and my mom have 8 brothers and sisters, and we all stayed in like this 2-bedroom park project. I think it was 2 or 3, but anyway, there's 8 people plus the grandmas and great grands. But anyway, for the most part, I didn't have neither parent for my childhood. You know what I'm saying? And of course, my mom was in my life, and my mom was going through her growing stage and her growing phase. And when I say my mom just worked, being a nurse, I would literally watch my mom because she didn't have a car. I would watch her walk to school to become a nurse, and then she would walk home and then walk back to work and then walk home. So she was gone a lot of times. And you know, in the projects and the many homes, grandma and other brothers and sisters are the ones who watch the kids. And so uh, a lot of stuff happened to me that my mom didn't find out about until she was older. Matter of fact, a month ago, when me and my mom were talking, and I was talking about, me teaching again, and she's so excited. We were sitting there talking and enjoying each other's company. And she was like, she apologized. She said, "I'm so sorry." She was talking about some of the things, because mom knows my brain is broke. I make light of it. I know my brain is broke. And she was like, "I'm so sorry that it wasn't there," and things of that nature. And I was like, "Mom, God had what the devil intended for ugliness. God had a bigger purpose. God twisted it and took that ugliness that was thrust upon me as a child and whatever I went through. And I appreciate how I am and who I am and how I view the world. You know what I'm saying? And I realized that it all came from a lot of the tragedies I went through. The ripple effect. It actually had a blessed ripple effect. Now it could have went left,
Right.
but God let it. He helped me choose the right path to make it go right. So, oh yeah, man, it had everything to do with my little brain being like. I remember the night when I was like F the world as a little boy, and things that I wrestle with to this day, to this moment. Like I told you, I had stayed up all night laying concrete. Even at nighttime, I got my little lights. I'm gonna lean one, even though this ain't one of them. Let me
Yeah.
see, lean about my head. I got a whole bunch of little lights and things of that nature. But from 8 p.m. last night to this morning, I watched the sun come up, and I'm laying concrete, taking my time, talking to the Lord, look to the stars. Like I've learned how to deal with it in a blessed way because I'm honest with it. You got to be honest with yourself and actually admit, and one of them NA means when they be like, you have to first admit you're an addict. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
like admitting that I'm a sinner and admitting that my brain is broken, I have issues, but also looking at the blessed repercussions of it. Like, and so I know that when certain things try to crowd around me, I know when to go on and take my little private time, like I did last night. Sit with the Lord up under the stars, do something constructive. Because my energy is still high level. Like you see my fire pit on Facebook.
Oh
Not
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, you sorry to cut you off. You said that you 44, but there's no way that you would like I would think that you probably like in your late 20s, man. Just the way
hey,
you
the
be
health
moving
message.
out there.
The health message, man. That's a testament to the health
Yeah.
message, man.
And so
I love throwing that in there, man. Because when
right.
people used
And
to, now go ahead, bro. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I was just going to say, and even with that, like your diet, how has that played a role in you, dealing with your depression and just, just your mindset, how has that helped throughout
Oh,
your
yeah.
life?
Oh yeah, man. That's one of the hidden jewels. Like once I say my mom turned her life around at a young age, like once she turned and she gave us, you know, raised us with as vegetarians. I used to, I would even be mad and be like, "Mom, I'm gonna eat meat in school." You know what I mean? Things of that nature. But I started even as a child. I started to see the benefits of it. Like I outran most of my classmates. Like I say, I ran a 4.43. I say 4.39, but they clocked me at a 4.3. But I outran most of my classmates. And like I said, when I saw how smart I was, and with things, like I said in the earlier video that I posted, parents, if you want your kids to be smart, raise them as vegetarians. I mean, vegan, and just have them read the Bible. Just and where it says that Daniel, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, where they were
Right.
10
Daniel
times
chapter 1.
smarter and 10 times wiser. I'm telling you, it's really true. And like when I say I outscored my whole high school, is like as I got older, and that's what I'm saying, like I'm hounded by my past every day. I can't escape it, but I started to see the beauty in it. And so it doesn't, the devil used to use it to beat me over the head, but and that's when it got me, used to keep me in depression, keep me angry, mad at the world, snap, ready to fight everybody, and the beauty of it is I can look back on my life now and be like, okay, I had this pain in my life, but God gave me a flip side to it, to where my
Right.
mind is so sharp, to where I can just make my own business and start running it. I can go dig out a fire pit. I've never laid concrete before. I made a flower bed and garden. All of these things is a testament to the way I eat and the way
That's
I'm
amazing.
honest, and the Holy Spirit. Like I say, the Holy Spirit, the Godhead of my best friends. Are my best, and I just tell you, like I said, the day my heart died. I call it the day my heart died. All of those things, being as a little child, I'm headlining a musical because I could sing. Okay, that should have been a fun fact. That Josh, I was in a play committee since I was the first solo I did in front of hundreds of people. I was 4 years old. So when you hear me singing like, "What did Santa Claus pick?" That's after years of smoking, drinking, you know what I'm saying? But I was
Wow.
4 years old when I first performed in front of hundreds of people, because I was in kindergarten. And I did plays and musicals every year until I was like 12 years old, until I got tired of it. And so I headlined this one musical when I was 7 years old. I did 3 big solos. It was built around me, and I had no family there. At the end of the musical, I'm watching all my friends, with their parents, and everybody's coming up to me, "Good job," rubbing me on the head. "Good, you sound good," and all of this stuff. And I saw one of my aunties who was on crack, who used to lock me in the room, and she looked. So by this time, she was so bad, but you couldn't tell today. She makes over 100K. She's a nurse, traveling, doing her thing, but she didn't want to come and say hey to me in front of everybody. But she had watched the show, and I saw her sneak out, and I got excited because I thought, well, at least I got somebody here that's family that's gonna say hey, or say I did, like, "Josh, you did good." And when she left, I just broke down crying, man. And I guess a
Wow.
whole bunch of people, because everybody's caught up in everybody's in their lives. And I guess because I never forget, I'm standing in the middle of the hallway of the elementary school, and I'm bawling. And I remember the music teacher, Miss King, my favorite teacher of all time, her and Mr. Friday from Mount Pisgah Church School. I have to give a shout out to Mr. Friday and Mrs. George. Mr. Friday is one of my favorite teachers of all time also. But she came and got me and said, "I'm going to take you home, Joshua." And I never forget asking her, as she's taking me to my grandma's house, I'm like, "Miss King, can I live with you?" And she was like, "No, Josh." And I got mad at her because she said no. And as I'm an adult now, I get worried about this, and I don't like saying it, but I always say it as a lesson. The house was pitch black. There was nobody home. So when she drops me off, I go from this high of performing in front of all these people and all of this to this empty house that I used to get locked in a room. And ironically, I go straight to that room. And I remember sitting there on the bed in the dark, and the only light was coming through the window. And I remember saying, like, "I hate everybody." I
Wow.
was like, "I hate the world. I hate adults." Things of that nature. I was like, for real, I said to my head, "If you're not God, you can't tell me nothing." And what's
Wow.
crazy is that mentality has carried me over my whole life, to where I know why God has chosen me to teach, to where that I still live by that mentality, to where, I have more compassion and love, and I listen to
Yeah.
my brothers and I take advice, but it's still the foundation of Joshua Wiley is, if you're not God, you can't make me do nothing,
Yeah.
nothing that I don't want to do, whether it come death, in jail, prison, like as you already know, brother. They put me one time. They put me on 23-hour lockdown inside of prison. Like, it was like, okay, it wasn't enough that I was already locked up. And this,
Hmm.
you know, I lost my temper one time, and they put me on lockdown for a year on 23-hour lockdown. So that mentality still holds strong with old Josh, to where if you're not God and I don't want to do something, you're not gonna make me at all.
I see. Yeah. And so, like, even with, of course, your troubled, teens upbringing, and even, seeing God's hand manifest even through it all, because, many times growing up in the projects, you don't make it past 21. Even a lot of those
Man,
musicians,
real,
they die at
man,
21, or,
man.
they don't make it to 30, or, like, so on and so forth. And for you to be still standing at
Man,
44, it just shows the mercy of God. And so not
Amen.
only like
Amen, bro.
you making it to adulthood, but also being a father. And so like going through depression and anxiety and just like your personality, how did that play a role in your parenting, and how were you able to overcome depression to be a better parent?
Well,
But even with that, just marriage, I know that you're married as well, so maybe tackle both of those questions at the same time: marriage and depression. How did that
okay, yeah,
impacted
man.
your relationship with your wife as well as with your children?
Right, right. The blessing of it is uh there I reached a point. I was homeless in 2 states, and I was like 33, 34 years old. And that's how hard headed and mentally broken like Josh can get. Like it, because I've been through so much. I have a high tolerance. I tell people all the time, like my mama, my mama tell people, well, she won't tell nobody, but what she knows and what my wife knows is that I'm callous. Like I'm very callous to like pain and affection. First time I was told I love you, I was 29 years old. So like I say, God had to allow me to be homeless,
Hold
homeless
on,
and broke.
pause for a second. You said first time you were told I love you. Was that someone telling you, or was that you telling someone you love them?
Nah, that was that was my mother telling me. First time I heard it.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was because, like I said, I was a bad once I went through certain things as a child, when I started living, with my mom full time, I was already broken. You know what I'm saying? My mom was already messed up. So uh me and my mom, even like, I went to, for those who don't know, I went to prison. I was sentenced to 3 years in prison at the age of 14 for putting a shotgun in somebody's mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when I sat in that room, when I tell people I sat in that room as a little boy and said I hate the world, it was no exaggeration in it. And as I'm older, I can tell that the devil wanted me to go left to actually glorify him, because I'm one of them kids that the world glorifies. I was one of them problem. Like if I was pissed off at the world, everybody in my neighborhood knew it. It's like, and my mom used to trip on it when I lived on my own, like I do now. But when even in the hood, my door was always unlocked, but people knew you open it at your own risk. You know what I'm saying? And Josh didn't care about police or none of that. Guns everywhere, but and I always did what I wanted to do. But anyway, uh I almost, I can go and almost forget what I was saying. But about parenting. So
Yeah.
I'm homeless around 34. And like I said, God had to break me down to the fullest. And it even took me, I'm still so hard headed, not wanting to change, because I always knew I was called. I knew I was called and chosen. You know what I'm saying? I always knew I was called and chosen. And so, but I'm like, I hated people so much. It was like the Jeremiah syndrome and the Jonah syndrome. I was like, I don't want to teach people. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But I was in a car one time, I'm homeless, and my cousin was letting me sleep in his car that wasn't far from my grandma's house. And one time I'm sleeping in it, and this is in the mountains of Asheville, North Carolina, and it snowed, and I could have died, bro. And it was like, I woke up and I couldn't breathe, and
Wow.
I didn't have a coat on or nothing, because it was warm when I fell asleep, or maybe it was cold, but I was drunk. I went to sleep drunk, but I woke up and I barely could breathe, and I had to crawl, not crawl, but it took me a long time to get to my grandmother's house, I wasn't even a block away, and I had to beg her to use the phone, because I say, and it's not all her fault. Like I say, Josh, I was mad at the world. She was one of the people included, and she's one of my best friends to this day. She has dementia now, but she's one of my friends. Like even her dementia, I'm one of the people. Josh, last time I seen her, she said, Josh, let's go. And they broke me in tears, because that's my little rider. Me and my grandma, like I say, with my mom, we done been through HELL together. But anyway, and she saw that I was really hurting and I could barely speak. And she already know my character. Like I wouldn't even have been there if I didn't have to use the phone. So I used the phone, called my sister, and my sister took me to the hospital, and they put me on a machine, like a ventilator, and opened up my lungs. But I still wrestle with little issues, like I say, because of that, all that stuff. But anyway, I went through all of that, and that's when I gave my heart back to the Lord. I was homeless, walking, looking on the corner for a cigarette butt to smoke, and the Lord said, "You rather live like this than to try me." And so I tried. And so make a long story short, I turned my life around, and that's when I actually came back into the church and started my YouTube channel like 10, 11 years ago. And so when I
Uh-huh.
had my kids, I was already in a good space. You know, I didn't
Okay.
have it. Well, I had my first two. I got to rewind. I had my first two while I was out there wild. And
Okay.
so me and their mom, matter of fact, I have one of their pictures. I keep all pictures of all my loons close to me. And I just so happen to have these two. These are my
Wow.
oldest two, Ariel and Caleb. And
Let's
Ariel,
put it up on the screen one more time. I'm gonna just show it. Wow, they're so beautiful, man.
they're they're 16 and 15 right now. And
Wow.
Ariel is Hebrew for Jerusalem. Ariel is Hebrew for Jerusalem.
Yeah.
For my first beloved, when God calls Jerusalem his first beloved. And Caleb, y'all know I'm Joshua, that's Caleb. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I always told him that means we're gonna be tight knit for life. But I went through a learning experience with them and their mom, because me and their mom, we're friends to this day. But she was dealing with mental issues, I was dealing with mental issues, and we both was just horrible for each other. And
Mm,
that actually, them two actually inspired me, would help me change my life while I was homeless. Because
mm,
was homeless even while I was a dad to them, and they're 16 and 15 right now. So when I had my youngest ones, my little ones, my itty bitties, who I got three little ones now, I was ready for them in a certain way. And I tell you, bro, look, this is the beauty of God. This is the beauty of God. Because I was robbed of my childhood as a child. I won't get into all that. You know, I talked too much already. Because no family, things of that nature. I was blessed to actually, my three youngest, one is 5, 4, and the other one's about to turn 2 in January. I actually, because I run a business from home, I was the one actually raising them. Like my
mm,
wife, she actually work, and we're going through a divorce right now. You know, but you know, the Lord has his ways. If he wants things to be reconciled, they will. And if she chooses, they will. The door is open for her. But anyway, uh, so everything I missed as a child, I got back from raising them, because me and my wife, we just separated this past February. So from my 5-year-old, the minute she was born, she was with daddy 24/7. And I'll
wow.
tell you, bro, how to deal, like you said, how to I'm not like, I took other stuff because I evaluated parents so much as a child for not having any, and things of that nature. I looked at, I was thinking the other day, when parents say, I'm your mother, not your friend, they do an injustice to that. I was told that a lot growing up by other people, by my mom and other people. And my mom didn't know. My mom don't say it now. Like I told, me and my mom click tight. That's one of my closest friends. But I hear a lot of black parents and other parents and other cultures tell their children that. And you need a healthy balance of being your child's friend, a real friend. Because and people think that being a friend is not, no, your real friend is gonna be honest with you. It's gonna
That's
love you.
right.
It's gonna be. But if you just come from that dictator parent, it's the same thing. Me and my mom are so open with each other now because of everything we've been through and how open I am. Just period. God told you I only answer to God, and that was
Mm.
hard for my mom to raise a child who didn't answer to her at all, like for real. And there was even men in the church. I'll chastise Josh for you, and they
Not,
found out the hard way that little Josh.
not,
I whooped a
not.
couple elders. Yeah, I fought a couple of my elders growing up in church. Like I remember, I fought one in the pastor study one time. I pushed. He still don't like me. I ain't gonna say he don't like me, but he kind of funny towards me to this day. But anyway, so I took what I learned and the do's and don'ts and what I just seen as evaluating from this little smart mind, that the Holy Spirit, only because of the Holy Spirit. And so I put a healthy balance of, not, I'm your dad, I'll discipline you, but I'm gonna be your best friend. And my motto is because you heard my story, was when you know that when they started nailing down the windows to keep me locked in that room because I used to escape out the room,
Mm,
that in the day they put the nails in and the bluebird came to the window, I used to tell my friends at school, because I felt bad that I really didn't have no parents and no family. I used to tell my friends at school that God is my dad. God adopted me. So my parenting, I take after God, and God the Father, he's my best friend. He jokes with
amen.
me. We laugh together. He's not just always, oh, or what are you doing right now? So like we just real tidbit. I know I told a lot, but I would do stuff like call it the Sabbath slumber party. Like right now, I can call my 5-year-old up. It's like, you ready for the Sabbath slumber party? And she'll finish it before she'll say, Sabbath slumber party. And what we do is Friday nights, I make a big old pallet on the floor. I might make a sliding board to come over my couch, and we would watch Christian movies, eat Oreo cookies because they vegan, popcorn. I'm like, we literally gonna make a mess and we will have fun. And they love looking towards the Sabbath. If I say, you ready for the Sabbath somebody? And I'd be the biggest kid. Like, and honestly, I saw myself everything that I missed and didn't, that I was robbed of as a child. I
Amen.
relived through them, man. Like going to Chuck
Def-
E. Cheese. They think I was going to Chuck E. Cheese for them, bro. No, that was for me. So, y'all want to go to Chuck E. Cheese? Yay! Oh, you such a good dad. I'm like, yep, give me them tokens. You know what I'm saying? But it was just
but
learning,
I
man.
we have to wrap it up though. But I do
Yeah.
have one last question. I know you mentioned about just your upbringing, your relationship with your mom. Now I like, as far as like fatherhood, what was your father's um role in your life as far as like your upbringing?
It wasn't any. Well, I'll say because he was on crack for a large part of my life, and my grandmother who lived in right outside of Camden, New Jersey, that's where my dad's side was. Sometimes my mom on some summers would take me up there, and because my grandmother really didn't want me to see him on crack, and things of that nature. First time I really remember meeting him when I was 12, he went out and bought some crack with me. And I'm sitting there looking at him.
Wow.
Yeah, he don't know the little ball of anger in the eyes that's watching. You know what I'm saying? So he was never really, I never looked at him as my dad. Like I
Okay.
even have a, he was they found me because me and him, once he got clean, I was 14. And that's when I told you I went to prison. I ended up going to prison when getting sentenced to 3 years in prison because it was my first summer with just him. And he had my other brother come up there because he's clean now. He's a drug counselor. And he's been clean and sober for 27 years. But me and my brother and them ended up robbing a store that same summer. And so I had to do time up in New Jersey, up in this strange state, but so and after I got out, after I did my time and got out, me and him ended up fighting, getting into it real bad because he didn't like the fact that I was drinking and smoking and I was only 17 and here I just did all this time. So I was like, peace out. He didn't know, like I say, I hated the world and I did what I wanted to do. Like, so matter of fact, that same summer that we fought, I went up there on my own. My mom didn't even know where I was at. I had
Wow.
worked a little, hustled up a little money, and I took the bus up to New Jersey to see them. So I threw him the deuces after we fought because he had never. I was already a ball of hate, and so I threw him the deuces. And my sister Aisha, she found me on Facebook 2 years ago. But me and my dad still don't talk because we ended up almost fighting this
Wow.
past. First, it was last August because he ain't like some of the stuff I was saying on Facebook, and I guess it was hard for him to just sit back in that role of you. If you and I told him, because I'm honest, like if God, this my honesty has dictated my whole life to where if you're not God, I'm gonna be straight up with you tenfold. And
Yes.
and so my dad didn't like the fact I told him straight up when he came back in my life. I was like, just be my friend. But I ain't say it mean. And I was like, I was telling him how to deal with this little dude that he didn't have nothing to do with. I'm like, and who can be that angry, person. I said, look, just be my friend. Don't try to be dad. Cause I said nobody will take his place. God the Father is always my dad. That's my dad. That's when I cried when I told you when I used to lie to little kids and tell people God adopted me. When I was in prison one time and I
Hmm.
came across Romans chapter 9 that deals with
Yes.
the adoption. I bawled like a baby in my cell. I got the Romans chapter 9 and Paul's talking about the adoption, how God adopts you into his house. Oh man, I cried like a baby. But anyway, so me and my dad don't even talk right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I really wanted to put hands on him a couple months ago, and it was just he talked crazy to me because he was like he said something like I don't like the way you say certain stuff on Facebook, And I said, and I was like, you know, who cares what you think? You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. I'm like, yeah, and it wasn't that I was being nasty towards people. People didn't like my responses towards people because a lot of people just saw me as this nice guy who didn't know nothing about who that old man inside of me. So, and when I'm in that dark space when my brain is broke, it's best, like my mom would tell people, it's just best to leave me alone. But anyway, so I knew we were gonna fall out when he said that to me in a private phone call, and then on a group chat he wanted to argue with me about Trump, and I warned him because I already from the phone call I could tell his feelings got hurt when I said when he was like, my girlfriend don't like some of the stuff you post and how you snapping on everybody, and I was like, well, who is she? And he was like, well, you ain't got to be an a-hole about it. I said I wasn't. I'm just honest. Nigga, who's you know, that's what, excuse the word, but that's what I said. I was like, I'm just honest. Who is she? She ain't nobody to my life and to me. And so I knew he didn't like that. So when he wanted to argue about Trump, I warned him. I was like, look, I'm not about to argue with you. I'm gonna end up the bad guy when all this is said and done. And my dad is 6'4", 300 pounds. So I'm one of the runts of the litter. So I ain't saying like I'm talking to a little dude. Like my dad's 6'4", 2 something, like neck this big. But
Wow.
like I say, my brain broke. It don't, you know, all of that stuff didn't matter. And maybe we can reconcile one day. Like I had to forgive him recently in my heart, you know, and I had to forgive him recently in my heart, my mind, and let go, let go of certain things, and just to be happy, man, because it was all eating me up inside. You know what I'm saying? All eating me up inside in my sickness, man. And if I wanna really be the vessel that God is called to use, you know, which I am, you know, I just lay my life down on the altar for Him. That that analogy of laying your life down on the altar, it means that every inch of me has to burn up, and that means even my hate and my anger for my dad and my family who did wrong. Like, brother, I'm gonna tell you, my brain so broke and was full of anger when I was in prison, and I came across 12. Like, I remember the moment when I read, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood." I got mad. I got angry because I wanted to hate my family, like the ones who did what they did to me and things of that nature. You know, like I used to delve in that hate and that anger, and I got upset because I couldn't be mad at them no more. The word was telling me that it wasn't them. So, you know,
Wow.
it's yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just a blessing when you really want to be a tool or a vessel of the Lord, and you say, Lord, all of me. That means all your anger, hate, issues with other
Everything.
people.
Yeah.
You gotta lay it. If you laying on the altar, everything in the altar is getting burned up. You know what I'm saying? So
Definitely.
yeah,
And
man. So
yeah,
that's my
so
heart
that
feelings.
yes, and once again, thank you for sharing your experiences and
Oh man, that's just
um
a yeah, man. I appreciate you for asking me, brother. And I gotta say, and I'm gonna say it on your while we live on your show. The only reason I'm sitting here with you today, and I can see you as a brother, and I want to let everybody that know. And I love giving people their flowers. This is one of the parts of me, man. You know, I'm just transparent in every way, and I believe in giving brothers their flowers, man. You was one of the people who didn't wash their hands of me, like, because I said, like, when I fell in depression because I not knowing what's wrong with my sickness, and that old Joshua started coming back out a lot and this is while I'm preaching in 5 different states. I have all these YouTube videos and millions of views, and a lot of people in the church washed their hands on me, but you didn't. And I remember when I made a song, it was either You Do You, it was one of my songs, and you reached out to me and you said, brother, I've been praying for you. I've been supporting you, and I'm glad you know come in. I got your back, and it was just I don't forget things like that, and that is the reason I'm here right now. Because I know you live the gospel, and you have a true earnestness of seeking the lost, not just out here just to be heard. You have a true earnestness of seeking the Father, and if I told you that God is truly my best friend, that means He was watching you too. He was
amen.
watching you too. Because, you know, let's just say for say for play, old Josh. We know when God says, I choose the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. I'm the foolish thing of the world. I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be alive. I was the child that they said would be dead before he was 21. And let's just say I'm a messenger of the Lord, and how important or how precious is the Christian in the eyes of the Lord who can strengthen one of his children who may have gone astray. Because I wasn't in a good space when you reached out to me. It wasn't like I was like now sober and clean. No, you reached out to me in my filth and said, brother, I love you, man. And you just spoke on the good points. You wasn't like others who came in, I can't believe you did this and said this. No, you just said, brother, I love you. I can't wait for us to work one day, work together one day. And here we are. Here we are.
Definitely, definitely, my brother. And yeah, I mean, as a man, first, you know, we all go through things, you know. I mean, I've gone through a lot in life, and I've gone through a lot of trials, and maybe that's why I was able to reach out to you, because because I've been through a lot. And so you learn to have compassion. You learn to, you know, just sympathize with others, you know, and not be in your feelings. Because I mean, I could look at the stuff you're posting and say, oh, I mean, you know, like but like how does that help? You know, how does that help? It does not. And so,
Amen.
but it only perpetuates further, you know, the wrong way. And so, you know, just the reason, once again, I reach out, because, you know, I've been through a lot, and I know what it's like, you know, I know what it's like going through a lot and not having anyone in your corner to encourage you. And so so because I know that, I'm like, nah, I know what this brother's going through right now, and I know he may not have too many people on his corner to encourage him, but I'm going to plant that seed. I'm going to be one that says, you know what, brother, listen, at this time right now, it's not about what you're posting, it's about you. Because you know, a post is a post, but you are the real person, you know. So those people are looking at what you're posting, but they're not looking at where it's coming from. And so
no doubt.
But I'm blessed, man. Yeah.
No doubt. And I'll say about that too. Like I say, I love chess. And ever since I learned, I always play it. And what a lot of people didn't realize, but my mama and my wife knew, and they would actually ask me, they would say, please stop, Josh. I developed that habit as a child, then poor mental health. When I realized whenever I'm around, say, people, and I want to see, because I had been told as a child so much, oh, I love you, I love you. But the minute somebody saw something bad in me, they would always wash their hands on me. So what I started doing as a child, I would show something bad in me. I would just to see if you really did love me. And I know that's wrong, because God says, you know, not to test and tempt. But like I say, my brain broke. I'm not saying I was right. That's what I was doing on Facebook, because once I realized that I was preaching for two different conferences, the Kentucky 10 and the Black Conference. And I'm sharing in different churches, all this place. And when I saw how many people just started washing their hands, I mean, I wanted to see, I'm gonna finish shaking my tree. And that was my motto. I used to call it shaking my tree. You know, like God is gonna do with his church pretty soon, to see who's really in it. Or who's, look, because what it say, I love the analogy of a tree. The leaves, always, you barely shake a tree, so many people are leaves. They blow as the wind go. Oh, Josh, nobody's not saying nothing negative. I had a TV show in Nashville. Oh, I'm a leaf hanging on, but let me shake it a little bit, the leaves fall out. And what they say, and then a little strong weather come, a branch might break, or you can't lean on a branch for support. That branch will break. Now, the people who you should be worried about are the roots. Those are the ones that's there for you. The people, you was a root, brother. You was a root. You know, I ain't gonna keep talking. You know, I can go.
It's okay, my brother. And so, that being said, you know, I want to close out with this powerful scripture, and in the book of Proverbs, and I believe that it's a very fitting text of scripture to close out with. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 13. It says that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, or a merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. And also in chapter 17, it talks about how a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, you know, but a broken spirit, you know, dries the bones. And so, you know, my prayer is that, you know, we would have a merry heart day by day. And so, you know, especially in this world we're living in as men, we're under a lot of pressure, you
Definitely,
know, to
definitely.
provide, to protect, and to and those are gifts that God has given us. But society today, you know, when you look at just men in general, we have to look out for each other, because you know, praise God for women, praise God for the ability to have wives. Yet, you know, the level of understanding is limited. Only men can truly minister to men, and only men can truly know.
Amen.
And so, my brother,
Amen.
I do hope, you know, to continue to be a positive, you know, impact in your life, and just, you know, just a word of
Thank God, bro.
kindness, you know, goes a long way. And so so I'm thankful to even be able to hear your testimony. And so, you know, sometimes, you know, people have YouTube channels and they want to interview like big timers and all those things. But for me, your story is just as big as DMX or any other individual that may have made it to such a status, and others are seeing their story. You know, and the funny thing is, like, you know, suicides is high in men. And so, you
Right.
know, people will, if they hear something happen to someone, they'll say, oh, wow, my condolences. And they probably had seen that person on Facebook, going through the stuff on
Yeah.
Facebook.
And
But
they
the
wash their
moment that
hands up.
something happens to that person, then they're like, wow, you know, my condolences to your family, or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, just live in the present. You see someone going through something, just reach out to them, be positive in their life, because, you know, don't take anyone for granted. And
Definitely.
by God's grace, I do not take you or any of my brothers for granted. And so, you know, I
Same here, bro.
definitely you know, thank you for joining in. And I do hope that Joshua's story and his life experience can be a blessing to many of you all who are watching this program as well. And
And let
until
me add
then,
in, brother, before you
yes, go
go.
ahead.
Let me just say one point before you close. No, I mean once you finish with
Yes.
your,
No, 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 no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Because
wanted to
I'm gonna
say
wrap it up.
the, the verse you shared, it does so much with mental health, and I love the way you orchestrate it together. I just want to say real quick how, I learned it in myself that when you're happy, your body releases the good toxins, the good
Right.
things in you. Can I say good toxins that are, let's say the good vitamins and good things in your
Mm-hmm.
body actually heals itself. But
Chemicals.
yeah, but when you're down, you're worried, like you say, depressed, your body actually releases a toxin that feeds on itself. Just to show you how much Proverbs is on key. And I just wanted to throw in that everything in our society today is built and orchestrated to keep people down, you know, from to keep you wanting more, to keep you think you need an upgrade, to keep you, to keep you from being content. Where Paul says, wherewith all things just be content. And that's what I had to learn to battle with my mental health. Don't worry about wanting this and just be content and
That's
utilize
right.
what you have. That's all I want to say, bro. That's all I want to say.
Definitely, definitely. Yes, we must in all things learn to be content. And so that being said, thank you all for joining in. And Joshua, I appreciate you coming on, my brother, and hopefully we can do this again. Lord
Definitely,
willing.
definitely. And I gotta have you on my channel, man. And we'll reverse the roles. We'll reverse the roles.
Yeah, definitely by God's grace. And so until then, y'all, blessings, and we'll see you next time.